You might think that smart lighting or saving money on my air conditioning are the biggest benefits I've seen with smart home tech, but for my family, it's almost certainly playing music around the home. We've been doing this a lot with Siri, but now there's Sonos Voice Control as another option. Depending on your needs, it's not totally ready for the job, or maybe it's just the perfect thing to replace Siri.
I'm sorry to hear you're leaving me, Eric.
My name's Eric Welander. Welcome to my channel, all about building an effective Apple smart home. Sonos Voice Control isn't available on all Sonos speakers. It has to have a mic, of course, to be able to hear you, but you can find it on many of the popular new Sonos speakers like the Sonos Beam, One, and Roam. I'll leave a link to a complete list in the video description, but regardless, you can control and group all of your Sonos speakers from any one of them that supports Sonos Voice Control. It processes your voice commands completely on the Sonos speakers instead of your voice recordings getting analyzed somewhere out in the cloud. As a result, Sonos Voice Control is very fast to respond. Instead of a synthesized voice, Sonos hired Giancarlo Esposito, who you might know from shows like The Mandalorian, Breaking Bad, or Better Call Saul. The voice sounds so real that my toddler thought it was a real person talking through the speaker, which it is.
Let's give it a try.
As a result, you don't hear the voice say lots of names of music tracks or other circumstantial things around what you're doing. Often, there is no voice feedback after a request, which I prefer. It's just a nice little... But occasionally you do get a weird response like, "Of course."
Trust Eileen to squeeze all the drama out of a situation.
Now, there are ways to get Siri to control other music services on the HomePod beyond Apple Music, but they aren't as elegant in my experience. On the other hand, Sonos Voice Control also supports Sonos Radio, Amazon Music, Deezer, Pandora, along with Apple Music. In the Sonos app, you can set a default music service, and I had trouble getting anything to work reliably until I did so. But I also noticed that some of my requests went over to my Amazon Music account from time to time if I didn't specify a music service in my request. Getting music to play back from requests is super fast on Sonos. This is especially noticeable with multi-room audio, where Siri can struggle with delays getting everything set up.
Working on that.
That said, Sonos Voice Control struggles more with what I would call fuzzy matching. For example, my Sonos Play 5 in my dining room is called Dining Room Sonos Speaker. If I just refer to it as the dining room, Sonos Voice Control doesn't know what I'm talking about. Also play this in the dining room.
I can't locate that. Please check your product names in the Sonos app.
I need to explicitly say something like, "Turn up the volume on Dining Room Sonos Speaker." On the other hand, Siri is very smart at matching speakers with room names in HomeKit, and it's also great at playing to all AirPlay 2 speakers in a particular zone of your home, like downstairs, even if it can take a minute to get its act together.
Working on that.
One of the key advantages of Siri over Sonos Voice Control is the integration with Apple's ecosystem. When I come into the kitchen after writing a script like the one for this video, I'll ask our kitchen HomePod Mini to run a Siri shortcut to stop my timer for tracking the time I spend on script writing. Sonos Voice Control is only and always about music. This is also true with smart home controls, although depending on the Sonos speaker, you can also enable Alexa for controlling your smart home alongside Sonos Voice Control. I would love to see Siri become an option here someday too, but that's a topic for another video. But there's a big advantage Sonos Voice Control has by steering clear of Siri's intelligence. The technology that allows me to run my Siri shortcuts on a HomePod Mini is Siri Personal Requests. By turning this feature on in HomePod Setup, Siri recognizes my voice and gives me access to certain commands linked to my content. But this means when someone tries to ask the HomePod to play a playlist in my music library, it fails to do so until I ask, or at least a relative of mine with a similar enough sounding voice fools the HomePod. But while I can play my wife's Apple Music library from the Sonos app, I can't seem to request her music library from Sonos Voice Control. Maybe with Sonos's limited set of voice commands, I just haven't figured out the right words to say for that yet. In my house, my music library tends to be the main one for in-home playback, so that shouldn't be too big of an issue. And depending on when you watch this, I'm sure Sonos will iron out some of these issues with software updates. But regardless of whether you use Sonos Voice Control or the Sonos app for that matter, Sonos speakers that work with AirPlay 2 audio are great to add to your Apple Home. At one point, I had 5 HomePod minis downstairs and they kept stealing commands from each other, and it was difficult to make room-specific commands. If I turned my head the wrong way, it would turn on the dining room lights instead of the living room. Adding back a Sonos speaker or two in place of some of the HomePods removed these issues for me. Sure, I could disable listening for Hey and then Siri wake words on certain HomePods, but Sonos speakers also add some superior sound to the mix, in my opinion. Listening to just Sonos speakers in testing out this voice control, I was reminded of just how good they sound, especially after using their TruePlay tuning. While Apple will probably expand their speaker line over time, they won't ever match the range of sizes and form factors that Sonos has to offer. Sonos Voice Control doesn't replace Siri, but it's a faster alternative when your HomePods have decided they don't want to work today.
I think I'm going to call in sick today.
If you enjoy listening to music, consider investing in Sonos speakers when you can. At this point, Sonos Voice Control is another integration of hardware and software you get by buying into the Sonos system. Friend of the channel and smart home expert Robert Spivak also started a YouTube channel recently, and I'll link his video on Sonos Voice Control in the description. He covers some details I didn't get to here. If you want to see my review of the Sonos Roam from last year, it should also be linked there, and it's a speaker that supports AirPlay 2, Sonos Audio, and Sonos Voice Control, and it can work as a Bluetooth speaker when you're away from home. Thanks again so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.